So let's come right up to the front of the chair and have your feet underneath your knees. Find your sitting bones. So you all know where your sitting bones are, right? You can reach under there, just kind of find them. Notice where you are on your sitting bones, if you're leaning forward a little bit, if you're leaning back, if you're sitting more to one side than the other. Sometimes we tend to kind of twist or lean into one side more than the other. So it's good to just kind of notice that. And before we really start, can I just ask everybody to please check your cell phones? Just make sure they're off or silenced and then what is it? How do we do the watch again? Yeah, on your watch, just swipe up if you've got a watch and put the little bell on red. All right. Somebody gave us that tip a couple weeks ago, so I like to give you that. Okay. So then sitting nice and tall, connecting with your sitting bones, connecting with your feet, bringing your shoulders over your hips. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And notice, just do a quick body scan. Notice if you're holding tension somewhere. Maybe your hands are clenched. Maybe you've got some tightness in your belly or your back, your neck, your shoulders, your jaw. See if you can relax whatever you're aware of, whatever comes into your awareness and you think, oh, I didn't know that was there. And then notice your thoughts. Notice how quickly or slowly the thoughts are moving. If there are a lot of thoughts this morning or just a couple. Sometimes there's one or two that kind of take up a lot of space. Especially if there's been something big going on during the week or coming up ahead. So just notice the thoughts and notice that there's a separation between you and your thoughts. So by that I mean if you were your thoughts, you wouldn't be able to see them or notice them because you would be your thought. So the fact that you can notice thoughts means that there's a separation between you and your thoughts. And then shifting awareness again from the mind, from the thoughts, notice your breath. And do a little inquiry. Is your breath fast or slow this morning? Is it shallow or deep? Are you able to inhale and exhale through your nose, or do you need a little auxiliary support? And maybe you don't need the support. Maybe this is just sort of a habit where you breathe through your mouth. Is it possible to not breathe through your mouth? Is it possible to breathe only through your nose? And are you aware of a temperature difference between the air that you breathe in and the air that you breathe out? Is there a sound to your breath? Is there a shape or a color associated with your breath? And now purposefully start to deepen the breathing so that as you inhale, you feel the breath moving all the way down into your rib cage and your belly. And as you breathe out, you feel the breath leaving the rib cage and the belly. You might imagine or picture your body like a balloon. And the inhalations are like blowing up the balloon, so the air goes in, so the balloon expands. And the exhalations are like letting the air out of the balloon, so the air goes out and the body gently contracts. Breathing in, fill your body from the top to bottom. And breathing out, see if you can empty your body. So breathing in, breathing out, inhaling, exhaling, filling and emptying. I'm going to start to add a count to the breathing. So see if you can count slowly in your head to 4 as you inhale. And then slowly to 4 as you exhale. So with each subsequent breath, breathing in to a count of 4, breathing out to a count of 4. And it's the same slow count of 4. And you might notice that it's harder to get to 4 on the inhale or the exhale. Give it a few times and notice how it gets a little bit easier to get to that number 4. And after your next exhalation, go back to your natural breath. So you can get rid of the counting. You don't have to worry about how deeply you're inhaling or how completely you're exhaling. Just let your breath be your normal, whatever that is. And then take in a nice deep breath and let it out with a sigh. You can let your eyes open. Good. And then we're just going to start with a little check-in. So take your head, just your head, and turn it to the right. Don't turn your shoulders or your body, just your head. And turn it as far as you can. And when you get your head turned as far as you can, turn your eyes to the right in the eye sockets. And just see how far around you're able to see in your direct vision and in your peripheral vision. Take a mental snapshot of that. And then relax and come back to center with your head. And we're going to go to the left. So same thing, just your head, not your shoulders, not your body. Just turn your head, go as far around as you can using your neck muscles, and then let your eyes move as far around to the left in the eye sockets as they'll go. Notice what you see in your direct vision, in your peripheral vision. Take a mental snapshot of that. And then come back to center. Okay. So we're just going to kind of store that information away. So let's take the chin up and down. So we're just going to really gently check out what's happening here in the neck this morning. So lifting the chin up, bringing the chin down. And when you bring the chin down, imagine you could tuck it into the little notch between your collarbones. So you kind of have to bring the chin down and back a little bit. All right. So if you're going to tuck it, inhaling and exhaling whenever it feels comfortable. Good, just a couple more of these. Most of us get used to moving the head in one direction and we don't explore the extent that we can go in the opposite direction. And then coming back to center. I'm just going to take the right ear to the right shoulder. Just kind of hold here for a moment. Notice what you feel in that left side. And then head comes back up and we're going to go over to the right, the left, sorry. And breathing in, breathing out. Let's do that just a couple more times. So just tilting the head to one side, getting the ear close to the shoulder, and then tilting the head to the other side, getting the ear closer to the shoulder. Try not to move your body. So we're just moving the head, just really isolating the neck muscles. The neck is your cervical spine. Some of you might know that. You might have had some sort of a medical thing where they said something about your cervical spine. That's just your neck, basically. And how about one more time? Good. And then coming back to center. Excellent. Let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back a couple of times. And then we'll take the hands from the lap and we're just going to squeeze and extend fingers. So squeezing and extending, listening for some noise in there. Wrists and fingers can be a little bit noisy, snapping, little crackling noises. Notice if all the fingers are working kind of easily, or maybe you've got one that's a little stuck, or maybe one that's a little sore. And then we'll extend the hands and use your thumbs and just circle the thumbs, just the thumbs. Right? So can you make huge circles with your thumbs? Like you're drawing zeros. Okay. And then extend the thumbs and take your first fingers and just circle just the first fingers, right? So all the other fingers are extended, and you can look at your hands and just see what's happening there. Sometimes they obey and sometimes they don't. And then let's extend the thumbs and the first fingers and take that middle finger and circle that around a little bit. And you might notice as you're circling that middle finger that the ring finger goes with it. Yeah. There's actually a little tendon between your middle finger and your middle finger and your ring finger. So it's pretty normal. And then holding the thumbs, the first and second fingers up, we're going to take the ring finger and see if you can circle that. Now, if you've really got your fingers extended, you should be feeling something up here in your arms as well. If you're not, really extend those fingers and see if you can get that. Notice if you're holding your hands up like this with your shoulders and drop the shoulders down. And then extending all the fingers, take the little guys and circle just the little guys. So keep those fingers extended. Good. All right, let's shake that all out. So get some movement there in fingers. And then we're going to put the hands forward like we're saying stop, and then fingers down. So get a little bit of wrist action here. So again, notice if you're holding up your arms with your shoulders like this. See if you can bring your shoulders down. Hands a little bit below your shoulders is good. And then see if you can press out through the hands and extend those elbows. Lift the fingers up as high as they'll go toward the ceiling. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. Let's take the arms out to the sides. Excellent. So, sorry, I didn't ask you to check your chairs first. So with your arms out to the sides and your fingers really extended, we're going to take the hands and twist them forward and down. And then let's go back. So try not to do this with your shoulders. So in other words, not like this. We're just rotating the arms. And it might be a much smaller rotation. Keep your hands, your palms extended, right? Your fingers extended as you're doing this. Oh, it's creeping up. Okay, how are we doing? Okay? Can you feel that in your arms? Good. Scarecrow. Scarecrow. Interesting. Okay. All right. And one more time. Great. And then we're just going to relax that. Let the arms come down by the sides and let them hang down a little bit. Okay. Roll your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Great. All right. We're going to focus on the right side. So take that right elbow and make some big circles here on that right side. Nice big circles. Notice if you go forward or backwards. Right? So there's no right or wrong because we're going to switch. So the next time your elbow comes down toward the ground, you're going to switch direction. So we go in one direction, then we go in the other direction. All right. And then let's take that elbow and make an 8. So a nice big 8. And you can get your body into this too. So you can kind of move your spine a little bit, move your hip a little bit. See if you can make a really big 8. How big can that 8 be? And if you've got a little wonkiness in the shoulder, just kind of mind that. So you might do a little bit smaller 8. Okay, how about one more? Excellent. All right, let's go to the other side. So we're just going to take that left shoulder, elbow, make a nice big circle. 0 or O, doesn't matter. It's up to you. Good. And then the next time your elbow is down toward the floor, we're going to reverse direction, go the other way. And again, how big can you make that circle? and see if you can make an 8 on this side. So a nice big 8. So with the 8, the top is smaller than the bottom, right? Yeah, and this is, if left is not your dominant hand, this might feel a little weird. And then reverse direction of your 8s. Did we do reverse 8s on the other side? We didn't. We got to go back and do that. We can't have reverse 8s on one side, not on the other. That would be really weird. All right, let's let that go. Okay, so now you got to remember how you made your 8 on the right and go the opposite way. If it feels normal, it's wrong. It's got to feel weirdly abnormal, right? More cracking in there. All right, and I think we've done enough reverse 8s there. Take your right arm out to the side with your fingers extended way up toward the ceiling. Right, we're going to take this arm up overhead, bend your elbow, and see if you can place your hand on the side of your face. So your thumb should be facing forward. And then come all the way up and all the way down. So let's do this, and as we go up, extend from the shoulder all the way out. Reach out through your fingers. Palm to the side of your face. Whoops. Good. Excellent. How about more of these? Can we do that? Long, long arm. Right? Good. It's like answering the phone old school. All the way up. Great. And all the way down. Excellent. Let's go right to the other side. So we're going to take that left arm out. It's like a strong arm, right? So right out here. And then we're going to go up overhead, bend the elbow, palm to the side of the face. Up and down. And did I mention breathing? I should have mentioned that because this is a yoga class and that's required. So breathing is important. Whether you inhale when you lift or exhale when you lift is completely up to you. Right? Just make sure your breath is smooth and steady. If your breath gets a little choppy, it might be that you're moving too fast, or you might be extending a little too much, or kind of asking your shoulder to do too much, and that's it. That's the end of that. All right, back to the right side. Arm out, first finger and thumb together, right? Like you're saying, okay. So first finger and thumb together. We're going to keep the palm of the hand away and up as we lift the arm up overhead. Now bend your elbow. Take that little circle, put it around your eye. So not like this, like this. It should feel very strange. Good. Up and down. Let's try that again, right? So thumb and first finger together, so we're reaching out. Then we come up, the palm is up toward the ceiling. And then we bring that palm toward the face, like we did placing the palm on the face. And then we do a little spyglass. I'm sorry for everybody who wears glasses. Up and around. And one more time, right? All the way up, extend, extend, extend. Bend the elbow. Oh, it's tough with the mic. Good. It's like a little spyglass. So I see a lot of you doing this. Can you switch it so it's like that? Right? There you go. And up and around. Good. Shake out that arm a little bit. All right, let's take the left side. We're going to take that arm out to the side, thumb and first finger together, right? So palm away from you. Good. Lift those fingers up. So engage that arm. And then bend the elbow, spyglass. Right? Excellent. Let's do a couple more of those. I think we did like 7 on the other side. So maybe we'll do 5 on this side. Good. All the way up. Right? So remember, palm is on your face. So if you're like this, you want to flip that hand. Right? How about one more? It's much easier on this side, huh? Interesting. For some reason. So some of you found it easier on one side than the other, right? Well, let's compare the two at the same time. So take both arms out. Let's see how they do. So bring the arms up overhead. Bend your elbows. See if you can make your little spyglasses. And look around at everybody. Make sure they're all doing it right. Don't you all look funny? Right? Everybody looks really funny here. Good. Oh, and let that go. Oh. So roll your shoulders a So aside from being kind of weird and goofy, that actually helps to stretch and lengthen a lot of the tissues in your arms and in your joints. And it's something called nerve flossing. So it's when you kind of get the nerve on a nice stretch and then a release. So if you've got like some coldness in your fingers, a little neuropathy in your fingers or your hands, this can be helpful for working with that. And it's fun. So let's take the right arm and we're going to bring it across the body and we're going to just pull that arm over to the left. And as you pull the arm over to the left, turn and look out over your right shoulder. And as you look out over your right shoulder, you're going to give your head a little up and down movement like you're saying yes. So a little up and down movement like you're saying yes. Good. Breathing in, breathing out. Doesn't matter when you inhale and exhale. And then bring your head back to center, release that arm, sweep it around behind your back, let it rest on the small of your back, and then take your hand, your left hand, and grab hold of your right hand back there. You can even grab your wrist if you've got that ability to kind of get that. If you're twisting to get your arms, see if you can keep your body nice and stable and strong. And we're just going to pull that arm over to the left a little bit. So as you pull your arm over to the left, you're going to take your left ear to your left shoulder, and you should feel a stretch somewhere on that right side. And then lift. Let's do that just a couple more times, just kind of dropping the ear to the shoulder. Notice if you're shifting in your seat, make sure you've got your weight evenly distributed through both sitting bones. And the next time your ear is on your shoulder, we're going to hold here, and we're going to do a little no movement. So turn the nose down toward the floor, and then up toward the ceiling, so the ear stays on the shoulder, right? So this should be quite a stretch here. Turning the head. Nice and slow. And notice at what point in the turning you get the most sensation. And then I'm going to ask you to stay there. So for some of us, it'll be when the nose is turned down toward the floor. For some of us, it'll be when the nose is turned up toward the ceiling. So again, just noticing at what point in that no movement do you feel the most sensation, and then I'm just inviting you to stay there. Let's do one more no movement. So going up and back. Great. And then bring your head back to center. Release that arm. Let's go right to the other side. We're going to take the left arm over to the right. As you take your left arm over to the right, just kind of pull it across with your right hand. Turn and look out over your left shoulder. And a yes movement with your head. So lifting up and lowering down. Breathing in and breathing out, again, does not matter when you inhale, when you exhale, as long as your breath stays smooth and steady. And I like to think of my breath as round, meaning there's not like this jerky movement to get the inhale. The inhale isn't longer than the exhale. It's just this nice round breath. I'm inhaling the same amount as I'm exhaling. And then bringing the head back to center, release that arm, sweep it around behind your back, let it rest on the small of your back, and then grab hold of the hand back there. Hand, wrist, whatever you can grab. If you're twisted, leaning, see if you can get your body upright, equal weight on both sitting bones, and then give that arm just a very slight little pull over to the right, over to the right. And then we're going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder and come back up. And breathe in and out. So we're just testing this if you're leaning your body. So if you find that you're swaying when you do this, see if you can keep your body upright. It's just the ear that's going to the shoulder. And then the next time you get your ear on your shoulder, you're just going to hold here, breathing in and breathing out. We're going to turn the nose down and then turn the nose up. So it's like a no movement with your ear as close to your shoulder as you can keep it. Nice, slow, steady breaths in and out. And notice at what point you feel more sensation. And when you notice that point, I'm going to ask you to just kind of hold there. So once again, for some of us, it's going to be with the nose facing down. With some of us, it's going to be with the nose facing up or somewhere in between. And it may be different on this side than the other side. And then just a nice turn of no. Great. And then coming back to center with your head, release your arm. Let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice what you feel in your neck, in your arms, your hands. Notice your shoulders. Take in a nice deep. Let your eyes open. And now we're going to take the hands out in front like you're pushing something away. And as you push, what I'm going to invite you to do is round through your upper back. So pull the shoulder blades forward like they're coming toward your hands. And then we're going to make like a light fist and pull back and squeeze the shoulder blades together. So we're going to push forward. And I'm going to sit sideways just so you can see what I'm not doing is arching my whole back. I'm just pulling back with the shoulder blades. And then when we push forward, we're not rounding through the whole back. We're keeping the back upright. We're just making the shoulder blades do all the work here. So you got that? So we're pushing, shoulder blades come off like they're coming toward your hands, pulling back shoulder blades like they could touch behind you, right? So imagine your shoulder blades could touch behind you. Wouldn't that be something? I would want to see that. Good. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay. And now thinking about the shoulder blades again, let's take just the right hand forward and the left hand, pull it back. Pull, pull, pull. See if you can get a little twist in your upper back here. So feet are firmly on the floor. You're just nice and strong on the floor. Sitting bones on the chair. And then we're going to switch sides, right? So pull through that upper back, right? And going back and forth just a little bit here. You can get a little movement in the ribs, in the waist. As you're breathing, notice how far down you can pull this twist into your body, right? So it starts here in the upper body, but I can feel that now in my lower ribs. I can feel it in my lower back. And the stronger you pull back and push forward at the same time, the more power you've got in the twist. Great. How about one more time on each side? Good. And then we'll drop the arms. Good. Let's roll those shoulders a couple of times and notice what you feel. All right. Hands down by your sides. Make like a light fist. We're going to have 5 pounds in each hand, right? So 5 pounds in each hand and give them a good squeeze because you got to squeeze that to hold on. Now these are the muscles we're working right here, biceps muscles, right? We're going to target those. I want you to squeeze those muscles as strong as you can as you bring your fists up toward your shoulders and you're squeezing your fists and then just as slowly lower down, right? So breathing in, breathing out. Jaw. That might feel like it's going to help you lift these weights, but it won't. When you get to the very top, like when your ankles come up to your shoulders, you're going to pause here and give these muscles an extra little Popeye squeeze, right? And then come down. Great. How about one more time? All the way up. Good. And this time we're going to come down halfway, just halfway. So squeeze. Really squeeze these muscles nice and strong. Hold and breathe. And imagine your 5 pounds is now 10. Feel how heavy that is, right? So just holding here. And what would happen if you can keep the bend in your elbow and just extend your arms out a little bit in front of you? Just a little bit. So you got 10 pounds in each hand. That's 2 bags of potatoes in each hand, right? Unless you get the little bags of potatoes. They do sell 10 pounds, yeah. They sell 3 too, right? So I guess I can't use potatoes anymore. Flour. How much of flour? That's 4 pounds? 5 pounds? It's 5? Okay. Oh, tricky. Ah, I'm going to have to do this in the grocery store and see what that feels like. Wouldn't that be fun? Standing in the aisle, just someone says, "Can I help you?" Nope, just checking the weight. I'm good. So how are your arms feeling? Very tired, yeah. Crazy, right? Who knew flour and sugar could be so heavy? And then pull back. All right, we're going to drop the arms down, release your hands, let the weights just kind of fall, close your eyes. And just sensations in your arms. Just notice all the sensations in your arms and hands. Notice what you feel. Out with a sigh. I keep losing my mic. All right, let's take that right arm. We're going to do a little sweeping up and around. So again, if you've got something going on with your shoulder, if this is the best you can do with the shoulder, by all means do that. So you just want to do what you can do. Right? So we're going up and around. And then let's bring that hand back down. We're going to go the other side. Same thing, just sweeping up and around. And notice, are you going backwards or are you going forwards? And why? Maybe it's just natural. Maybe you saw me going backwards, so you decided to go backwards. Let's go over to the right again. We're going to take that arm the opposite direction. So I think for most of us, it's going to be forward, right? Are you breathing? More than the minimum. Yeah, a couple more breaths. Good. One more time up and around, and we're going to go to the left. Same thing. Okay. So we got that movement in the arms. Okay. All right, so that hand is going to come back to your lap. And now we're going to do like a little bit of swimming. So let's take the right arm, we're going to sweep it up and around, bending the elbow a bit, and then the left. And as you're swimming, you're going to start to twist your body, right? So think about a swimmer. They don't just move their arms, it's the whole body that's twisting, right? So sweeping up overhead and around and behind. Good. All right, one more time. Excellent. Both hands come to your lap, and now we're going to swim backwards. So the backstroke, right? So you take one arm back, and then the other arm back. And again, use your body. So get a little twist here in the body. If your arm only comes low, if your arm comes lower than shoulder height, that's okay. You're still doing what you can. So we're going backwards, right? So the arm is moving backwards. Good. You all got that, right? Easy. Arms come back to the lap. Good. Everybody did great. Okay, so let's take a little, we're going to add the brain to this a little bit. We're going to take the right arm forward, and then we're syncopating the left arm a little bit. You got that? That's a syncopated movement. That's our swimming. You got that. Okay. So now let's just have the right arm going forward. Just the right arm. And on the left side, we're going to do the backstroke. Right? So it's backwards with the left and forwards with the right. Oh, I see a lot of people going in one direction. Let's do this. Let's do just the left, going backwards. Just the left, going backwards. Got that? Okay, so now as you're going as you're going backwards with your left, take your right and go forwards. You notice you want to get in sync, right? Your body's like, no, 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 you can't do that. Because if you were doing this in the ocean, you would drown. Got that? Everybody's doing perfectly, right? No. Now that we've all landed at the bottom of the pool, let's try the right arm going backwards. Right arm going backwards. And how about left arm going forwards? So right arm is backwards. You might close your eyes, like if you're really easily confused with visual stuff. So right arm goes backwards, left arm goes forwards. And what about if we just do a switch? Switch. And how about we switch again? I just see a lot of flailing arms out there. You're moving, that's all I want. And then let that all go. Let your hands come to your lap. Close your eyes. Say, thank God it's over. Whew. Over. Just notice what you feel. Notice what you feel in your body, but also notice how engaged your mind is. Notice your breathing. Notice what that's done just kind of in general for how you feel in your body, in yourself right now. So that changes things. Nice deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. Ha. All right, we got one more upper body thing to do, I promise, and then we're going to switch. So hands come together, and then we're going to press out. So press out and round through your upper back. This is just a nice stretch for all that work we just did. Arms come up overhead if you can. Release your hands, sweep them out to the sides. Let's join the fingers again, but in the opposite way. So whichever way you had, wherever your thumb was before. This should feel kind of strange. And then you're going to press away. Drop your chin a little bit. Breathe in, breathe out. Come up overhead. And then release. And let your arms come all the way down. Good. Arms and hands rest on your lap. So sitting on your sitting bones, making sure you can feel the weight even on each, your feet directly underneath your knees, pressing down a little into your feet. We're going to turn just the head to the right. Just the head, not the shoulders, not the back. Turn as far as you can. Keep going if you can. And turn your eyes as far around in the eye sockets as they'll go. And as you're holding here and breathing, what I want you to do is see if you can call up that image that we took, that little snapshot you took the first time we did this, and notice if you're able to see farther around to the right this time. And then come back to center with your head. Same thing on the left. So just the head, turn as far as you can. Let the eyes move around in the eye sockets. Taking a couple breaths in and out. See if you can recall that initial image when we first did this. Are you able to see a little farther around this way? And then coming back to center. Good. So many of you noticed a difference. Yeah, right? Did you notice a difference more on one side than the other? Yeah, right? So it's really interesting. Just doing some of this movement with your arms and your shoulders and your back, how much that affects your neck, how much that affects your ability to turn. So everything is connected. And when we can work on some of the peripheral things, we sometimes think, oh, you know, I've got a tightness in my neck, or I've got a pain in my neck. I have to keep working on my neck. But maybe what I need to do is start working on my hands. And then start working on my arms, my shoulders a little bit to kind of get that movement pattern up into the body. All right, so let's go down to the feet. We're going to have fun with feet today. Look down there. Say hello to those feet. Wow, what are they looking like this morning? Are they in good shape? Are they not in good shape? Are they cold? Are they warm? They're cold. Yeah, a little cold this morning, right? So if you've got your shoes off, you'll be able to see this a whole lot better. And if you've got your socks off, you'll be able to see this a whole lot better. But do the best you can. So what I'm going to have you do is just lift up your toes and spread them out nice and wide. And see if you can see some space between the toes. Like which toes have the most space between them? Which toes don't have a lot of space between them? Is it the same on the left and the right? So just kind of take a peek. Left side, right side. Are they the same? And then lower the toes back down in that spread out position. So you're trying to make your toes, the front of your foot, as wide as they can be, right? So with the toes down on the floor, so we're going to work on keeping the tripods on the floor, right? So the heel, the big toe knuckle and the little toe knuckle, we're going to keep those parts of the foot, of each foot on the floor. And then what we're going to do here is keep all the little toes down and lift just your big toes, and then lower the big toes down. Breathing in, breathing out. We're lifting and lowering just the big toes. Right? Now, if you're noticing that your big toes don't like to lift without their partners, and they need a little bit of help, you can reach down there if that's possible. Maybe place your fingers on all your little toes as you try and lift the big toes. Just give them a little assist. That's all, just giving them a little assist. So we're working on muscles in the top of the foot and in the front of the lower leg when we're lifting and lowering the big toes. All right. And then place your big toes down. We're going to hold the big toes down and lift all your little toes. All the little toes. And then lower back down. So we're lifting and lowering just the little toes, but those big toes stay planted on the floor. Right? So not doing this, right? So we're not bringing the knees in to lift the toes. We're keeping the knees nice and level. If you need a little assist, same thing. You can reach down there, just put your fingers on those big toes, keep them anchored, and then see if you can get the little ones up and down. So there's a couple of things here. So there's a physical disconnect if we're in shoes all the time, and there's a mental disconnect if we're in shoes all the time. So keep going with this. Yeah, I'm chatting, you're working. So what we're trying to do is reestablish that mental connection and that physical connection. Everybody got that? All right. So lower the toes down, relax a little bit. So who found it easier to lift the big toes? And who found it easier to lift the little toes? And who hated both of those? Some of you do. All right. So let's do it the opposite way then. We're going to keep the tripods on the floor, lift all the toes, spread them out nice and wide. And this can be hard just to do this, right? This can be kind of challenging. So now see if you can keep all the little toes lifted and press those big toes down really strongly into the floor. Just the big toes. And then lift. And lower, press. And lift and breathe. Because this is one of those breath holding events. The toes, definitely it's a breath holding event. So notice how the little toes, they kind of want to go along for the ride, right? So if you need a little assist here, you can reach down, bring your fingers under all those little toes and hold them up as you press the big toes down. So we're working on the muscles on the bottom of the foot right now and the back of the lower leg. These muscles, especially with the big toe pressing down. Next time you get your big toe down, I'm going to ask you to press really strongly into the big toe. So this is really starting to strengthen that inner arch, the medial arch on your foot. And then lift and lower all the toes, relax. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Start to breathe. Good, let's do one more thing. We're going to lift all the toes. Keep your big toes up and press all the little toes down, but not the big toes. And lift and lower. So in and out. Notice what your hands are doing. Yeah. Your hands, yeah, they are instructing, right? Usually the hands are like, do it like this. See, we can do this. What's wrong with you? Okay, and then lower all the way down. Whew. So who found it easier to press just the big toes down? And who found it easier to press just the little toes down? And who didn't like either of those options? Yeah. That's a little harder for a lot of people to do. Okay, so let's do one more thing here. We're going to lift all the toes. Spread them out a little bit. Press your big toes down and your baby toes down, but not the middle three. Impossible, right? Yes, lift everybody up. What's up? Unless you're doing this, right? Over and over again, right? So press just the big toes down. Do you know how often I do this, you guys? A lot. Press your baby toes down, but not your middle toes. So we're working on the arches of the feet right now, right? And your brain is maybe having like a little difficulty, like making this communication, and your toes are having a little difficulty, and your feet, and you might feel like a little crampy sensation, right? Anybody feeling like a little cramping sensation? So if you need assist here, take the fingers, hold on to the middle toes. So you're just conditioning, we're conditioning the body to do this. And this is super important for your mobility, right? So toe independence, let's try that one more time. Big toes down, baby toes down, not the middle toes. And then relax everything. Whew. Let's just kind of tap the feet a little bit here. Tap the feet. So giving them a little reward. So you have 3 arches in your foot. You've got the arch here and this is the one we all think of, right? So when we talk about arches, everybody goes, oh yeah, it's right there. But that's just one. That's an important one. They're all important. So this is one of the arches. You've got one out here on the little toe side of the foot, and then you have one that runs across the foot. You've got something called a transverse arch. And it's actually the ability of those 3 arches that creates the actual arch, that helps support the actual arch in your foot. So if you're weak in one and overly strong in the other, say I'm really strong in this middle inside one, I'm going to have a super high arch that's restricted and locked. If I have not as much here, I might have a flatter foot and not enough ability to kind of lift up. So working on these three little areas of the foot can help create stronger arches and therefore stronger feet. So let's take the right leg out. So we're going to go from the foot arches up to the ankle a little bit. So we're going to point and flex, point and flex. You can do this with your heel on the floor. You can tap your heel and your toe. You can try keeping the foot lifted completely. And then let's circle around. Good. Excellent. Reverse direction of your circles. I heard a little ankle music over there. Very nice. And then we're going to bring that foot down to the floor. Take your left, same thing. So heel comes out. We're really extending that leg, and then we're pointing and flexing that foot. So we're pointing and flexing from the ankle, right? So the ankle is actually doing the movement. And if you've got something happening in your ankle and it doesn't move in quite this way, just do the best you can. We're going to circle around, breathing in, breathing out, reverse direction. Excellent. Let's bring that foot down to the floor. Okay, now check your posture. Are you leaning forward? Let's see if you can lean back slightly. We're going to bring the hands right alongside the hips. Press down slightly into the hands, enough that it gives your the feeling of lift in your torso. Not so much that you're like getting really stiff and rigid in your back, but just enough that it's giving you a little support, and then pull your belly in slightly. And we're just going to take that right knee, focus on the knee, and we're just going to bend and extend. So nice and slow. So when you bend, imagine you could touch your heel to the bottom of your chair. So really pull that heel up and under. And then when you extend, really extend this leg and feel the muscles here in the front of the thigh working hard. So breathing in and breathing out, slow and steady, right? So when the foot comes under the chair, I want you to pause there and really give it a squeeze, like you could get that heel up on the chair. And breathe and notice how hard this is or how easy this is. If you need a little break, you can always tap your foot on the floor. You can always just kind of put your foot on the floor. So how about one more time? Good. And then we're going to bring that foot to the floor. Going to go right to the other side. So again, using the hands and arms just to support yourself, to remind yourself of where you are in space. Use those belly muscles a little bit. And then we're going to bend and extend. So focusing on the muscles here in the upper part of the leg. When the leg is extended, it's the muscles in the front of the thigh. When the knee is bent, it's the muscles in the back of the thigh, right? Front of the thigh are quadriceps muscles. Back of the thigh are hamstring muscles. And they work together to do this kind of locomotion movement. Everybody doing okay? Is this side easier or harder? Easier. Anybody harder? It's harder, yeah. I love that. And then we're going to put this foot back on the floor. Okay, we're going to switch over to this right side again. Extend your leg out with your heel on the floor and then tighten up these muscles here in the front. Again, these are your quadriceps muscles. Your quadriceps muscles go from your hip above, or your pelvis actually, from above the crease in your thigh, and they go right down below your knee. They attach into the lower part of your leg. So they are an important muscle because they do a couple of different actions. So we're squeezing these muscles. And again, I like to keep my hands here just to remind myself to stay in integrity, because it's very easy to do this when I get tired. So I'm just going to do this, pull the belly in. We're going to lift that heel and slowly lower down. So strong muscles through here, lifting the heel and lowering down. Good. And breathe as you're doing this, right? So nice, full deep breaths. And you don't have to lift very high, just as high as you can. The next time you lift, I'm going to ask you to hold here. Pull your toes in toward your knee a little bit more. So it's like you're trying to push out through your heel, right? You should feel these muscles here really strong, right? Are they talking to you? Good. Okay. So we're going to let them talk, and we're going to rotate the whole leg in and out. Now, if this is too much, if your muscles are saying, I'm done, I've had it, or your hip or your knee, you can always place your heel on the floor and continue to do this rotation in and out. But if you can, hold your leg up. We're going to do this just a couple more times. When you get to the outside, right, when you've rotated to the outside, I'm going to ask you to hold there and see if you can rotate just a little bit more. Ooh, you doing okay? Yeah? Yes. Hello, leg. Good morning. And then let's rotate the other way. Same thing, even with your heel on the floor. Whatever you're doing here, rotate in even a little bit more if you can. Even a little bit more if you can. And then come back to center. Good. Lower the heel down to the floor. Relax that leg. Wow is right, huh? Let's give that a little massage. Holy moly. Who said chair yoga was easy? All right. All right. Well, not to be left out of the party, let's go over to the other side, right? So we're going to hold the chair here, and again, just really engaging these leg muscles here. So the quadriceps muscles, remember, they're super important. They go from your hip to your lower leg, so they're connecting this whole part of the leg, and they're crossing over your hip joint and your knee joint. And we're going to lift and lower. So lift and lower. So again, I like to have my hands here just because it would be so easy for me to go, oh, look how high I can lift my leg, right? I can sit way back and do that. But this is about using those muscles. So notice what these muscles are feeling like on this side, right? Maybe they feel stronger. Maybe they feel not as strong. Next time you lift, I'm going to ask you to hold here and breathe and press out through your heel really strongly. Pull your toenails toward your shin. Breathe in, breathe out. If you're doing this, sit up nice and straight. I know it's really easy to kind of get in there and you don't even know you're doing it, right? We doing okay? Is there a little fire going on in that? Yeah, good. Okay, let's rotate in and out. You can always bring your heel to the floor. Always an option. Even if you just need a break for 2 rotations or whatever, you can always bring the heel to the floor. So we're going out and really going as far out as we can, going in as far as we can, going out. Good. You're doing really great on this. And this is ankle, hip, and a little bit of knee in this rotation. Next time you're out to the little toe side, I'm going to ask you to hold there and breathe. Really squeeze these muscles a little bit more. Breathe in, breathe out. Try to unclench your jaw. I know. And then rotate the other way, same thing. We're going to just go as far as we can. And again, you can have your heel on the floor and be doing this, but we're rotating in as far as we can. You should be able to feel that out here. Good, good. How about one more breath? And then lower down. Good. Bend that knee. Give that leg a little massage. Okay. Asked a lot of the arms and legs at this point. Let's do this. Let's take the right leg and we're going to cross it over the left. Now, if you have a real difficulty crossing at your knees, you can always cross at your ankles. So when we're here, what I'm going to ask you to do is squeeze your inner thighs together, and that should bring the outside of your right foot closer to the outside of your left lower leg. Does that make sense? So see if you can get your little toe as close to your left ankle as it'll go. And then back, release. So we're going to do that a few more times. So we're just trying to get the little toe as close to the ankle as it'll go. Now if you're here, if you're crossed at the ankle, in other words, you're just trying to get your knees together, right? So you're squeezing those knees together. Couple more times. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a cheat here. So take your left foot, walk it over to the left. So you're at a little bit of an angle. Got that? And now try and get your outside of your foot closer to your ankle. A little bit easier, huh? Yeah, a little bit easier. Good. Excellent. How about one more time? Excellent. And if you can, we're going to hold here. So you're going to hold your outside of your foot to the outside of that left lower leg. If you can, wrap that foot around the lower leg. Right? If you're leaning to the left, yeah, go ahead, sure. However you can get it there. Help your neighbor. Get over there. Get that in there. All right. And then unwrap that. Walk that left foot back, uncross, recross the other way. Whoo-wee. Okay, so now we're going to take the, squeezing the inner thighs together. That's how you get that power on that, right? So squeeze the inner thighs together, see if you can get the outside of your left foot closer to the outside of your right ankle. And then release. And again. So, and again, if you're crossed here at the ankle, we're just trying to bring the knees a little closer together. So whatever works best for you. Okay, so we're kind of going over. Got that? Is it easier on this side? Yeah. So you might want to like just kind of check in. Oh, how do I always sit? How do I always cross my legs? Like, what's my comfy position? It's the other one. It's the other one for you. Okay, so now we're going to take that right foot and scooch it over to the right. So you kind of had a little bit of an angle there, right? And now see if it's a little easier to get that left foot closer to the ankle, right? And then we're going to hold it there. And I already see some people wrapping around, so go for it. So wrap that foot around, right? Can you wrap that foot around? Got a little, a little cramp back there. Yeah, yeah. That leg is saying, hey, wait a minute, we don't do this. This is not our movement. This is not our movement. So breathing in, breathing out. And let's unwrap that if you're wrapped. And then we're going to walk the foot around, uncross that leg. Let's extend both legs. Hold on to your chair so you don't slide off. Point your toes. Get your legs as long as they'll go. See if you can lift your heels up off the floor. So your toes are on the floor, but your heels are off the floor. And then drop your heels back down. And again, press your toes into the floor and lift your heels up. Oh, there you go, right? This is the middle of the night cramp, right? Yes. So let's try that again. Excellent. Okay, bend your knees. Let's bring that right foot behind you. We're going to stretch this way now. So the bottoms of the toes, we're getting a good stretch there. Scoot that foot back there. And then press down into the foot. See if you can get a good stretch through the bottom of the foot and the underside of the toes. This is one of the things you can do if you do get that cramp in the middle of the night. There you go. And then release that and go to the other side. And you all know, I know I've said this before, the best thing you can do to prevent that is don't tuck your sheets in. Keep your sheets untucked at the bottom of the bed. It does work. Yeah, it's amazing. You just get enough space there that your feet aren't in that flexed position. That nice tight tucking of the bed just puts your foot in that extended position, and that can cause a cramp. Okay, and then bring that back. Whew. All right, make yourself comfortable in your chair. So if you want to sit back into your chair, you can do that. If you're comfortable here, stay here. Let your hands rest on your lap and close your eyes for a moment. And with your eyes closed, feel the bottoms of your feet on the floor. Feel your sitting bones on the chair. Notice where your hands are, if they're resting on your lap or if they're together or apart. Are the palms up or down? So just notice. And then see if you can tune in. We'll just kind of do a little body scan, tune in. So we did some work here in the fingers and the hands. That was kind of the first little area that we moved in, the neck and the shoulders and the upper back. The elbows, the arms, those shoulder blades. So we did some work there, pulling the shoulder blades forward and pulling them back. And then we noticed how far we could turn the head from one side to the other, what we could see. And then we moved on to the feet and did a quick check-in with the feet and noticed all the movements possible in the toes and those that were not possible in the toes. And then that movement that we did for the ankles and the shins and the calves, bending and extending the knees, working those muscles of the thighs, the quadriceps in the front and the hamstrings in the back. And then changing the angle of our foot when we had our legs crossed. What opportunity that opened up for us. Bring your attention to your breath and see if you can slow the breathing down. Take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in and out. You can feel that through your nose. If you need the auxiliary of opening your mouth, you can do that. But notice, for most of us, again, using the mouth to breathe is a habit. It's not something we need to do, it's a habit. But for some people, it's important to have a little bit of accessory breathing through the mouth. And then going back to the mind and the thoughts and all of the activity that's there. Notice if that's changed from when we first checked in at the beginning of class. Maybe some of the thoughts you were having then you're not having now. Maybe you're having different thoughts. Maybe they're the same. Maybe they've changed their dimension. So if it was a heavy thought, maybe it doesn't feel quite as heavy right now. And then just notice how you're able to observe your body, your breathing, and your mind simultaneously. So you're able to watch your body as it breathes. You're able to watch the sensations in your body as they rise and fall. You're able to watch the thoughts in your mind as they come and go. And you're able to do all of this at the same time. And take your hands and place them in the center of your chest. As you inhale and exhale, see if you can feel your chest rising and falling underneath your hands. And take a nice deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. And then just one more moment, maybe take your hands together and just take a moment of gratitude to yourself. And then if it feels okay and you'd like, you can open your eyes and maybe just acknowledge all the folks here in the room. Gratitude for being together today. You're welcome. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great long weekend. I'll see you next week. Yes, you're welcome.